Fight Club, a warning for men.
20 years ago have long been forgotten, but among men love Fight Club. Most films made over 20 years ago have long been forgotten, but among the tiny few that maintain their relevancy, Fight Club always comes on top. Because Fight Club is more than just a film, it's quite literally a religious story. The story begins deep within the narrator's mind.
Fight Club? Chad, have you seen Fight Club? I could break it down pretty easily. It's about the spiritual warfare that's going on, and it came out in 1999 and talks about how the Matrix is controlling people and how there's really a war on men going on because men hold most of the power. And so they take away the power by masculinizing the women, and now you see the result in this movie. In the first scene in the movie, he's going to like a breast cancer therapy session. He doesn't even have breast cancer. And he's there sobbing, putting his face in another man's tits. They're trying to show all the limps, how men are becoming weaker and sadder. And they're there in support groups and they're crying. They're sexless. They don't even have their balls anymore. It's sad, but that's what Fight Club is about. He kind of wakes up because there's an alternate version of him, Brad Pitt, more masculine, more traditional, not giving a fuck. Anti-government, anti-establishment, and then there's like a revolution that goes on. But they mess it up, they end up blowing a bunch of buildings up, and that's what happens like when people don't have direction. But we shouldn't, that's not what the revolution should be, burning down buildings and starting, what do they call it again? I mean, it went from Fight Club to Project Mayhem in the movie, but Project Mayhem, like, bro, Project Mayhem does nothing. Burning down buildings is not gonna help the world. It's way bigger than that. But that's what the movie's about. It's about the spiritual warfare that's going on, and it came out over 20 years ago. People started becoming awake to that then. If you look at all the movies from 1999, you can see that there's so many movies exactly like that. Like American Beauty, The Matrix. Look at all these movies that started to talk about this idea. Eyes Wide Shut. You guys know what Eyes Wide Shut's about? That's literally just about the rituals that Epstein does. All the creepy rituals of the mask. And you know what they did? They censored this movie, Eyes Wide Shut. And guess who died right after making it? The director, Stanley Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick died. This was his last movie, right? I think before the movie was even released. Movies, the best movies of all time, there's a reason why they're so ingrained in pop culture. Because there's information in there that's disguised as just entertainment, but they're really revealing truths about society, for real. In 1999, so many of these movies touch on this. Magnolia, I think I didn't see that one. Fight Club, 1999. And then American Beauty. They don't even show it here. The Green Mile talks about how, like the racism that goes on and how black men are still modern day slaves in America. This was starting to wake up right before the turn of the millennium. A lot of these movies. And then if you want to see a movie just about like how the simple life makes people miserable and how people all lie about living a life that they actually enjoy, yeah, I think actually it was. American Beauty is a perfect example of one of those films. But there was something about that year, something about like the end of the 90s and like after the war on drugs and the new millennium was starting, that people started to wake up to what was really going on. There's lots of really cool information in this stuff. But Fight Club, for example, is specifically about the war on men and how they're trying to make men weaker and weaker and weaker. And so these men start waking up by joining like a men's club. They go to a fight club and beat the shit out of each other to get their masculinity back. Shawshank Redemption 2, a movie about a guy who was falsely accused and oh, that's not 1999, but frees himself from prison. But like also The Matrix, you know, this is the whole idea right here. The Matrix really describes this whole thing in one movie. But why do you think it was all 1999? Because people started to wake up then. All these directors, there was some synchronization going on. Something happened in those years leading up to it where it changed. And if you pay attention, you could see it. It's not just, think about it, it's not just entertainment. They're trying to tell you something. Chad, have you seen any of these movies?
as we're shot through his consciousness and into the mouth of the narrator, where Tyler is preparing to turn society into rubble and begin the revolution. But how did it get to this? Well, it starts in a regular day in an artificially lighted, soul-crushing office. The narrator is a sleep-deprived, caffeinated drone. Everyone is a copy of a copy, printing the same things, dressing the same, and drinking the same Starbucks lattes. The narrator is quite literally a slave to the 9 to 5, with his only passion being IKEA furniture.
What kind of dining set defines me as a person?
Look what he's getting distracted by. IKEA furniture. And then you know what happens? His whole apartment burns down. If you haven't seen this movie, there might be a little bit of spoilers. When I react to this, there's actually going to definitely be spoilers in this video. But you still can enjoy this movie because it's so relevant. It's so culturally relevant. This guy's a bitch. He lives alone, doesn't get pussy, and just like filling up his life with a bunch of materialist dumb shit. Closets from IKEA. He has all these magazines. He's miserable and he doesn't realize it. And what does he do? He works in this most boring office, like what are they, like print paper or whatever the fuck, a boring slave matrix job. Just absolutely nothing unique about him. He's dull. Every time you like they put the camera on him, this is his face. But then you see the alternative, Brad Pitt wearing clothes he wants to, saying that self-improvement is masturbation. That whole character is the antithesis to him, the slave mind. Somebody who's just in the system and doesn't realize it. Somebody who's connected to something bigger that actually just wants to take his power away. And so they end up revolting.
By living such a monotonous life, his body can no longer rest.
Look
He's
at him.
never asleep, but he's never awake either.
Look at that face, soulless.
So to deal with this, he goes to find people who are deep in despair, as a way to not only feel better about himself, but also to form the deep connection that is missing in his life. One of the first people he meets is a man called Bob. Bob fears for his masculinity. His testicular cancer has reduced him to a blubbering mess who's been stripped of his masculine energy.
Literally testicular cancer, that's an analogy. They're getting rid of your balls. They're domesticating you, no more balls. I'm sad. And they literally grow tits. And some of them even start lactating. You can see the fucking milk coming out of their titties. They're bitching men up. It's not just about cancer.
A man whose hormones morph from testosterone to estrogen. A man who's lost his children's respect. A man whose life is expiring fast. The narrator shares his pain, he feels that lost connection, and so the narrator becomes addicted to the men's whole group. Because
He becomes addicted to self-improvement. He becomes addicted to the support group. You people, a lot of you who are just watching the same self-help videos every single day. No fap, no fap. I need to go stretch every day. Okay, tell me what to do. It becomes a comfort zone, just like the support group. Because deep down, everybody here is miserable. Look at all these men. Same thing, like Office Space, somebody donated. Office Space is the same thing. It talks about the mundane nature of this 9 to 5 life. So you can get caught up in the ritual of going to self-help support groups every day, watching improvement videos, or you can wake the fuck up and see the bigger picture. Take your balls back.
there's none of this connection anywhere else. When their workspaces, opinions, hobbies, and tastes are all the same, people can't connect on that deeper level. It's only times of despair that can foster any semblance of human connection. But then why have men become so weak? What is behind this male despair? Well, I've spent countless hours studying this phenomenon, and there are three main things causing this, and they might surprise you. But before we go into that, we need to see how Fight Club tackles masculinity in the 21st century. The story cuts forward to the narrator living out his regular life, a life of wasting time, doing meaningless, unfulfilling tasks, and watching his life end 1 minute at a time, where everything is packaged in atomized portions. Shampoo condition combos, sample packaged mouthwash, tiny bars of soap, living a transient life where everyone he meets disappears again on the next flight.
His life is absolutely meaningless. There's no purpose at all. He's going through the motions, and they tell you that this is a good life. They tell you that the middle-class American life is the top of society, but really these are the most controlled and soulless people in the world. Look at his face. Chat, you know people who look exactly like this. So don't get caught up in the fucking self-help routine because it's just a support group for loser men. Wake up. It's way bigger than that. It's way bigger than just picking up girls. That's not what the red pill is. It's realizing what they're doing. They're taking away your whole life. Is this the face of a happy man?
Over and over. The only interesting thing in his life is the fantasy of dying in a plane crash. However, it's on one of these fights where the character Tyler Durden is introduced. A man who's the opposite of the narrator in every way. A man's man, with a big leather jacket, shades, and unlimited confidence. Tyler Durden begins to change everything. His calm, stoic confidence with his fatalistic outlook makes for a perfect testosterone-laced aura. And as he drives off in a stolen sports car, the narrator goes back to his regular life, only to find all his possessions have gone. His IKEA home has evaporated. His identity in past life has been reduced to ash. It's in this moment where the narrator begins to regain his true masculinity. Okay, so then what is causing men to feel so weak? What's behind this male disconnect in real life? Well, I think one of the main reasons behind this is that men no longer have any means of self-expression or deep connection. See, what I think Fight Club really taps into is the kind of shallow avatars we've become, where real authentic connection fades behind the 9-to-5 struggle. When you live this 9-to-5 existence in a decaying dystopian megacity, you never get—
That was The Matrix. All these movies told the same exact message, and they all came out in the same exact year. And it's funny because they didn't plan it out. It's just that a lot of these directors who saw the bigger picture were all realizing it at the same time. It wasn't something they decided, but all those movies, Office Space, American Beauty, The Matrix, Fight Club, all have the same exact message and all have the same main character. A lost man working a 9-to-5 who's miserable and doesn't realize why and ends up waking up and taking his masculinity back. Even though these movies came out over 20 years ago, we still need to rewatch these movies and learn the lessons that they were trying to tell us in 1999.
Get that shared struggle or accomplishment. Instead, we're just working in the same room on tasks that don't engage us or put us in a natural flow state. Instead, we live a lifestyle that numbs us into flaccid apathy, devoid of passion, healthy aggression, or connection. Instead of us going out into the world, exploring the unknown, facing shared adversity, and overcoming it for the benefit of the group, we now do the same tasks silently at our desks. The fact is that average life for so many men means that their relationships are always functioning on a surface level. And with so many limited connections, we turn to supposedly social means of relaxing. Going on Tinder, playing video games, going to the bar,
watching Prawn, beating off, looking at TikTok, all the same distractions that existed back then, drinking yourself to death, popping these pills, reading these stupid magazines. Like, it's all the same now. The programming is just different and actually easier to access and dumbs you even longer now. It's getting worse, it's getting stronger. That's why I went viral on TikTok in 3 days. It's so easy to figure out how bot-minded you are. I'm just gonna say it again. Everybody on that app for fun is plugged into something that they do not even realize.
To supposedly unwind. You see all these men piling up in sticky low-end clubs to bathe in the waters of the profane, destroying their body to the crescendos of recycled thumping bass, scantily dressed paralytic women, and salivating droog-like men, rushing to the refuge of an inebriated stupor to feel some sort of connection. These low-end bars, clubs, and Tinder are like a slot machine, where you spend your money and time to get hooked on the prospect of winning a sloppy, disconnected hookup.
The people, you ever gone to a casino and seen the old people who just sit there getting fat as like, sitting at the slot machine watching the colors on their face, and they could just sit there, ding, maybe this time, maybe this time, maybe this time, maybe this time. That's the same exact thing when you scroll. You can see people in public, they just like when they're bored for a second, open their phone, Instagram, refresh, Twitter, refresh, go open up, close, Tinder, refresh, waiting for something that's gonna happen. It's just like going on a slot machine, waiting for life to like give you some meaning, and it's never going to.
If deep social connections were normal for men, if men felt connected to their labor and the people around them, but they felt like a healthy, unrepressed individual, there would be no need for any of this. We wouldn't be wasting our lives getting drunk, standing out in dead-end clubs until God knows when, to be with everyone else who's doing nothing with their lives, all for the hopes of meeting someone to get off of, and then only to repeat this cycle every single week, all because you just want to feel that love and connection you never had. It makes it hard to be an upwardly mobile young man when your life is defined by throwing your money at video games and getting plastered in a pool of vomit.
At video games, now it's the same thing. You guys all, it's getting worse. You used to be giving your money on video games and online gambling. Now it's OnlyFans, Twitch streamers, here, to these girls sitting in hot tubs. Okay, maybe you'll love me if I give you all my money, These OnlyFans girls are raking in cash doing absolutely nothing. That's something unprecedented and unheard of. They can make $1 million in a month showing booby pictures and never thinking, never having to work. And a lot of them are so dumb that they don't even do the work. They give 70% to some agency and don't even just sit there, take 3 pictures a day sometimes and get $1 million a month. It's insane. They're dumbing us all down and they're giving all the money to the women for doing nothing. And not even if they're just on OnlyFans, all these girls are just shaking ass and twerking on the Explore page too. It's the same exact thing. And you're there like, I love you. Oh my God, you're a queen. You're a queen. You're a queen. And they see all these dumb idiots gassing them up and they just get all this power, and then they walk around happy as fuck. They're trying to give them all the power so we have none. And with this power imbalance, they're messing up all of society. Why? To take away the control from us. Wake up.
Comment. And in the last few years, with jobs going remote, people becoming unemployed, and robots replacing manual labor, we've become even more depressed and isolated. And men are on the brunt of all of this, with male suicide rates reaching an all-time high in
Reaching an all-time high, homicide rates are at an all-time high. The amount of guys going up to schools and, you know what I'm saying, doing all that, that's at an all-time high. You read it, we're so desensitized to it now. How many school blah, blah, blah have you heard of this year? It happens like every other week. And who is it every single time? It's men. Who's deleting themselves at this rate? Men. But they don't talk about it. Apparently it's still, women are oppressed. Women, we need to give feminism to women. They are not oppressed. It's us. We're miserable. Very clearly. Why don't they talk about this? Why aren't there protests for this? You know what they're protests about? Slut walk. Everybody go on a slut walk and put feathers on your head. Pride month. Woohoo! Yeah, you're a queen. You're a queen. But nobody talks about this.
recent years, because men lack the social connection and purpose that necessitates a happy life. Okay, so then how can this be fixed? What's the solution to this deep-rooted problem? Well, this is what Fight Club seeks to work out. After the narrator comes back to find all his possessions burnt to the ground, his male transformation begins. So in a last-ditch effort for redemption, the narrator calls Tyler, where they discuss his possessions and identity being destroyed. As he rants about his possessions being destroyed, Tyler reminds him how destructive this consumer mindset really is. He talks about how this makes men weak, detaching us from our hunter-gatherer instincts.
That's what we naturally are, our hunter-gatherer instincts. If you watch all those 4 movies, Fight Club, The Matrix, Office Space, and American Beauty, you know what all the men do to find their happiness? Like from their miserable marriages, their miserable 9-to-5 lives, their boring, sedated lifestyle. What they do is they take their masculinity back. And what that is hunter-gatherer shit. Part of this animal stuff that we're tapped into. In American Beauty, he starts lifting weights, smoking weed, doing what he wants. He quits his job, starts fucking bitches and getting strong. Brad Pitt, same thing. Starts a fight club, starts beating the shit out of people. Office Space, what did he do? He quits his job and becomes a construction worker. He's happy being outside breaking rocks, something natural to men. The Matrix, he literally quits, like he's in an office all day, and then he just sees the whole world for what it is. Taking our masculinity back is tapping into what they call toxic and problematic and incel. So what you naturally need to be happy, they say it's toxic and they cancel you for it. Wake up.
We are byproducts of a lifestyle obsession.
Tyler describes this as being one of his main concerns with society. His concerns aren't crime, war, or poverty. It's celebrity magazines, televisions with 500 channels, Viagra, Xanax. Tyler describes all these comforts as just being coping mechanisms for living in such an unnatural world. To revert back to what is truly felt, Tyler asks the narrator to punch him. He wants to feel something. He wants to be taken back into the now, the present, and feel a swell in his masculine energy. And so they begin to beat each other hand to hand. After the fight,
and they feel so happy afterwards. Somebody said the movie American Psycho 2. American Psycho's Christian Bale, and he becomes a serial killer because he's working in, he's a Wall Street guy who has all this money, all this excess, and does nothing. He's on phone calls all day, wears a suit, and just puts his feet up, gets drunk, does coke, and he pretends like he's this really sophisticated, good person because he's in a top office, but really, he's an asshole piece of shit, and he goes crazy and insane. Why? It's not really his fault. The system makes you insane. All this excess, all this power is something that people are not designed to do. We're designed to connect with people, to share things, to be good. But when you have that much power and all this money and you're not doing anything, you become corrupted, you become insane, and that's when you start random people in the street.
They go back to Tyler's house, which is a rundown, abandoned, disgusting house with boarded up windows, leaking pipes, and infested with moss, all to destroy the narrator's addiction to comfort. And within a month, the
Get out of the comfort zone.
narrator no longer misses TV. He doesn't miss his possessions, he enjoys the discomfort. He's confident and aggressive, and other men become allured by his life. They gather by the dozens to fight with each other, all of them wanting to fill that untapped masculine energy. This pattern only continues to grow. All these men who are fed up with being weak losers, these men who have lost their way, who feel resentful of the world around them, leading to the formation of an underground group known as Fight Club, a club dedicated to rejecting what they claim to be feminine conformist indoctrination.
And they gotta do it in secret because everybody would call him a toxic, problematic incel in real life.
And it's around this time the narrator starts to be perceived differently. He's now seen as an individual. In fact, all of the people at Fight Club now stand out from the rest. They aren't just carbon copies anymore. They are battered, they dress and act differently. These aren't the same men.
But they start to get some life back in their face. Look at how more alive he looks based on the beginning of the movie.
With this rejuvenation of the masculine and rejection of the mundane conformity, the narrator becomes hungry. He becomes hypersexual. He smokes in his office. He looks at disgust at the drones surrounding him. The comfort, the passive aggressiveness and mundanity. He sacrifices all of this to revel in the discomfort.
You give up the condo life, give up all your flaming worldly possessions.
This idea of sacrificing comfort becomes central to the ethos of Fight Club. To join Fight Club, you have no choice but to fight.
And then if you look at the movies that are about females, it's so different. The movies about men are always tapping into something that's actually going on, something spiritual. The movies about women, what are they? Female Ghostbusters? Fantasy shit. Queen's Gambit, just making up girls, giving them positions of power, because yeah, we're powerful. Yeah, it's all fantasy. Female Ghostbusters, let's make a female, whatever the fuck, just versions of men movies, and they just put women in the same position. Queen's Gambit, there's no female chess grandmaster. It's all made up. They're doing that to encourage you. Yeah, we can do the same thing that men do. That's what female movies are. Male movies are about misery.
Comfort is consumerism, and Fight Club seeks to kill both of these things. Because to these men, comfort is what made men so weak, and one of the biggest causes of comfort is the narrator's 9-to-5 job. So to move away from this cushy sterile office life, the narrator and Tyler begin to make soap. Why soap? Well, this becomes clearer later on, but for now, the two raid a liposuction clinic for human fat to make soap, and during this process, Tyler pours lye onto the narrator's hand as an initiation. How much comfort is he willing to sacrifice for his future self? As Tyler tells him, without pain or sacrifice, we would have nothing, and once you have nothing, you can do anything. Meaning the narrator has to accept this pain, the suffering, before Tyler can give him the vinegar to neutralize it. And eventually, after accepting the pain, they begin selling the soap at high-end fashion stores, selling rich women their asses back to them. By now it's become clear that the narrator has fully transformed. For example, later at work, the narrator threatens his boss after he finds a printout of the rules of Fight Club.
First rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club?
Because he no longer fears his boss. He's now in charge. He's consciously moved above his boss. But it's not only the narrator who's going on this masculine journey. The narrator is now forming deep connections with the people around him. And the people around him now adore the narrator, with Bob telling the narrator how great a man he is. It's very clear that Fight Club is tapping into something repressed in these men. And this shared resentment and repression of the masculine becomes political.
Look at that guy's alive! Even with this big ass fucking testicular cancer fucking titties, shit lactating out of his shirt. Look at that! Ah! The masculine inside that they're trying to suppress. And you know where they find it? In secret in a basement. Because society does not want you to wake up. They don't want you to be powerful. They don't want you to be this. But look how alive he is based on... The support group is encouraged. They want you to be doing self-improvement bullshit. They don't want you to be doing this.
Where, in the words of Tyler Durden, an entire generation of people pumping gas, waiting tables, slaves with white collars, chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate so we can buy shit we don't need. With no purpose or place, the group decides that men from everywhere need to become uncomfortable, to be pushed away from the modern platitudes and back to their primal, raw, hungry selves. To do this, each member is assigned homework, like starting a fight with a random person, an assignment that causes the narrator to lose his job. And then there's other activities, such as smashing up people's television satellites, destroying Apple computers.
So this is where it gets to some white shit, and then like I think when it's only white people in a club, they start like losing direction. You can kind of get that in American Psycho and in Joker. It's like the revolution should have just be destruction. Like that's it to me. Like Project Mayhem in this movie is the same thing as a white kid. Like, yes, I'm gonna go, and he live streams himself going up to a school, and blah, blah. That's the same thing. You're not doing anything. You're just causing more negativity. We need to bring positivity back. There's nothing positive that comes from blowing up buildings.
Puncturing cars, feeding birds to defecate in corporate beam.
No offense to white people, but that's what y'all do when you like wake up, you go crazy and then just start destruction. No, no. This is why like now the movement needs to be all races. It needs to be everybody, inclusive. If you think about it, Fight Club, if you watch the movie, it's all white people. I mean, let's be honest.
At this point in the story, the narrator and Tyler are inching closer towards their master plan. Okay, but for everyone else in the real world, this same bored up repression is being seen in another way. We're now seeing big changes in society. There are movements called men going their own way. We see these men called black pillars online who blame everyone but themselves for their own awful lives. We see mass depression and male suicide skyrocketing. It's clear that the issue addressed in Fight Club is certainly real, and it's why after 2 decades men still feel so connected to this movie. Okay, but what's actually actually causing this? I mean, never in history have we seen such a decline in masculinity. Well, this brings us on to our second point for male weakness. Right now, we are the first generation of losers. I'm sure we all remember that Try Guys video.
Soy boys, look at these this is what they promote. Pussy ass feminine men. All of them are bisexual here. No offense, but like, come on, guys. Or were you out here sucking dick? That's what they want to promote. He's like, yeah, let's all try on makeup and shit. Gross. Assam, thanks for the 20. I made a 2-minute video called Never Watch Fight Club. I think I really like it. I'd love to see reaction. Shut up.
Where they measured their testosterone and it was so low that it was below the average for an 85 to 100-year-old man.
Disgusting. Take your balls back.
But this video really wasn't as funny as it first seemed. The average testosterone used to be over 1,000 nanograms per deciliter. Now the average for men is usually around 300 to 700 nanograms per deciliter. But the range has become so wide and so blurred that the Try Guys testosterone levels was considered healthy, which tells you a lot about modern society.
They want to take away your balls. Take your balls back. Don't let them neuter you.
Where men have the testosterone of 100-year-old men. Because what are the results of this? Well, low testosterone men face a lot more depression, fatigue, low confidence, lower sex drive, and ambition, which has an eerie correspondence to the growing mental health epidemic we're wallowing in. On the other hand, high testosterone men are aggressive, have increased muscle mass, increased facial hair with a higher
Everybody 10 push-ups right now! Everybody 10 push-ups right now! Woo! Alright, chill out. I'm doing too much.
sexual drive and more motivation. Which is why in the past, men acted like men. They faced discomfort and came together through unthinkable struggle. War, economic collapse, poverty, plagues. By 21, Alexander the Great had conquered most of Europe and was expanding into Asia. And I mean, just talk to your parents or grandparents who had houses in their 20s, raising children, working in mines, starting businesses. We did manual labor, we dug into the earth, we sweated it out every day, rain and shine. And now huge chunks of men are spineless wimps. I'm not
spineless wimps! Wake up! Yeah! Something! Okay. Take your meds, calm down. Alright, I'm sorry, my bad.
I'm trying to sound macho saying this, but it's a blunt reality. Men are being drowned in estrogen-laced products. High estrogen causes
Look at that shit! Look at that! That's woke! That's what they want you to do? Everybody 10 push-ups right now! 10 push-ups right now! Come on, bro! 10 push-ups right now! Fuck that shit! Woo! Yeah! Okay.
men to take on feminine traits. They become less assertive with low energy. Their genitals shrink and voices get higher. And then compounded by this is our testosterone-killing lifestyle. I mean, it's now normal for the modern diet to consist of BPA plastics, sugar, alcohol, and a sedentary lifestyle. Beer bellies and weakness are the new norm for men. And it's why we're losing an entire generation of men to comfort. The average man is overstimulated beyond belief. Accustomed
Stop watching Prime!
to scrolling on apps on autopilot, living vicariously through other people's stories, whether it be through sports, video.
Stop worshiping these fucking self-help people. Stop worshiping people online. They don't know better than you. Don't live vicariously through your videos. Stop worshiping these people. Don't worship me. I'm a fucking idiot. I'm unhinged. I'm crazy. Alright? I need to take my meds, alright? I'm stupid. I need to calm down. Don't worship me. I don't know better. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. That's it. Wake up. That's it. Don't worship me. I don't give a fuck about none of that.
Games and social media, or adult content and OnlyFans, where you imagine you're the guy that's winning, all while sitting in your bed on your own doing nothing with your life. Added on to this is the millions of six-figure professionals who spend their lives making you weak, manipulating you through social media, food, and all the other endless comforts. Billion-dollar companies using advanced AI to make you passive, comfortable, low testosterone mules.
Pussies! Come on, shit! Come on! Something! Take your balls back, bitch!
Split testing to keep you mired in an endless loop of distractions, creating a generation of weak, pleasure-seeking droogs whose lives consist of waking up, scrolling on social media, and busting a nut.
Ew! The first thing you do is go on OnlyFans and scroll on Instagram and look at titties? What? These hoes don't deserve our energy, chat. They don't need it. They do need it. We need it more. Don't go to a school and start blah 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 people. Just something else. Let's get this money, chat. Let's get this money. Let's live life. Let's have fun. Damn. Woo! Woo! That's why they think I'm crazy. I still got my balls attached.
Entire countries are becoming weaker as we become lazy, instant pleasure-seeking men. There is no need to be strong anymore. All these comforts and distractions make life easier, and an easy life breeds.
Look at him! Look at him! A poor...
weakness. Comfort kills creativity, and with this, men are becoming incels at a frightening rate, because by detaching themselves from their masculinity and through being accustomed to comfort, they have no will to struggle or to strive for more. Men are losing that will to succeed, to be better, to improve, and when this weakness is normalized,
Arnold! Strong! Yeah! I'm still skinny as shit.
when men around you are docile, lethargic, and apathetic, you accept being weak. You lower your standards for yourself and those around you. And this really is how civilizations collapse. Now in Fight Club, this collapse is seen through the radicalization of these men, who are forming stronger bonds and stronger dedication to Fight Club, highlighted with the membership initiation, where those who want to work in the top circle of Fight Club must go through grueling discomfort, standing outside for 3 days with no food, water, or shelter.
You gotta be uncomfortable. It's not easy. You gonna take the easy route, you know what you gonna say? I'm lazy. I'm just lazy. I think I'm depressed. I think I'm ADHD. I think I'm anxious. I think I'm da. I'm gonna do it tomorrow. It's gonna be hard. It's not easy to wake the fuck up, but try to. What you wanna do? You wanna be a fucking... I'm gonna take my pills and be a good boy. Yes, government. Whatever you want me to do, I'll take another one. I'll take another mask. I'll put 5 on if you tell me. Wake up, please. Holy shit, bro. It's coming back. They just did a trial for the past 2 years. It's going to come back stronger. Trust me. If you don't believe me, get out of my stream and go watch some fucking prawn.
Where they are repeatedly threatened and told they're not wanted. The test is designed to filter out the weak and those who can delay their gratification. Once initiated, these men must shave their hair, wear the same clothes, and remove their names, ostensibly to reject consumerism, but really to crush any individuality and make these men conform to the group. These men are then reduced to hard, manual labor, all while being repeatedly told they're not special, they're not individual, and it doesn't take long for the consequences to unfold. Later in the evening, the news reports on the destructive acts of anti-capitalist arson and vandalism, because Fight Club is no...
That's some angle eye chat. That's some white people shit. And like fucking causing destruction. Look at Jared Leto's bot face, bro. These people, no. This is not what we need to do. This is the same shit as a guy going to a school emptying the clip. Same shit. What are you doing with your masculinity? People start waking up, they get their balls back, and then you go to a school with an AR. What are you doing? What are you doing? Spread love or whatever the fuck, bro. Just go to the gym, wake up, fuck some hoes, get money, live life. Get a nice car, get a nice crib, get 10 bad bitches in your kitchen. That's how you can get your balls back. Not, oh, I hate society. That's what, I don't know, like, fucking Joker in those movies. That's what they show. American Psycho, it's always a white dude who gets his balls back, and then he ends up just causing, look at him, causing mass destruction. No, what? Stop.
No longer about managing men's repression in modern society. It's now...
Angle Live Chat, what race... but what race goes to a school and live streams himself with an AR? Let's be honest. You know what race it is. That's not what we need to do. You're not alone. If you're thinking about doing that, what are you doing? You want to get 10 bad bitches in your kitchen, man. You want a nice, fast car. You want to be able to fly anywhere. You don't want the government to control you. Get out of that. You know why they do that? Because they want people's approval so bad. I'm gonna show these people. Shut the fuck up, pussy. That's some pussy shit. What are you doing?
Now about seeking vengeance on the cause of their repression. And the pressure is building. This is seen in a car ride home, where the narrator talks with Tyler about Project Mayhem and the destruction they are causing. And Tyler admits he was the one who blew up the narrator's condo. He did this because when the narrator had nothing, he could become anything. It was the comforts that were pulling him back from his potential. So to go back to the feeling of zero and freeing his mind, Tyler decides to crash the car. And when the narrator wakes up from the crash, he walks into an assembly line of men building soap and plotting their vengeance. Team
You see, vengeance, like, it's wrong place. You're focusing on the wrong place, white people. Just, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. But come on.
of men working tirelessly to get back at the society that rejected them. But this need for vengeance begins to take a much more sinister turn. After a failed assignment to destroy corporate art, the Fight Club members reveal that Bob was shot in the head. It's becoming clear that this need for vengeance is going way too far. And with all the madness building up around the narrator, he goes around America to find Tyler. And this is when he realizes the scope of the Fight Club movement. All the men around the country are united by the repression. It's only in his search for Tyler does the narrator realize he is Tyler. Tyler is his masculine projection. Tyler is the part of him that has been repressed
His balls.
all these years as a wage slave. Tyler was the only way he could live the life he wished for, the person he needed to pretend to be, to get where he wanted to be. Every step within this film is Tyler's journey into becoming the man he'd always repressed inside of himself. And after realizing this, Tyler goes back to the house, only to understand that all the soap making was for bomb making. It's now very clear what Fight Club.
Do you want to know what Sneeko is? That's the same thing. It's my Tyler Durden. That's not my real name. My real name is Hubert. But I was in school, nobody paid attention to me, nobody cared, nobody listened to me. So I went online with this alter ego of Sneeko and I turned the fuck up. That's my Tyler Durden. My balls back. It's the same shit.
Club is, what Project Mayhem is. It's a therapeutic release for Tyler to deal with his deep-seated emotional issues. After understanding this, Tyler goes into an emotional breakdown as he no longer has any identity. No one around him knows his true self, and he doesn't either. But before we get to the end of the story,
And don't say white people because we need them. Bro, we don't leave them aside. We're not trying to be racist or something. Their minds are in the wrong place for this control. Like, don't say that. Don't say all white people, bro. We want them to feel better.
we first need to understand the
You feel me? Ah! Yeah!
third and most important reason for all this male weakness, and that is the subversion of values and virtues. On a massive scale, we have seen our values being subverted. We see relentless hedonism being praised and rewarded as empowering. We see the family unit being desecrated. We are told that ownership and freedom are bad, that we won't own anything, that we shouldn't be free to say what we believe or act as we choose. We are always told to be the better person and never show aggression. When men are bullied, we are told
The better person, be mature. You need to be, well, I remember being like you, but you need to be mature and take your pills and shut up and sit still and type some stuff all day. I'm okay, because I'm mature, I'm obedient. You need to grow up, you incel. That's what they say. That's being a good person is being a fucking bot. Ew.
not to defend ourselves. Even though we
Stop making fun of my name, chat. Hubert's a good name. Yeah, W. Hubert. Sneeko's cooler. Sneeko even, Sneeko, yeah, Sneeko. But Hubert, my real name, man. That's not as cool as Sneeko.
all know that you aren't the bigger person because you take it. We should reclaim that aggression and push back. But instead, we perpetuate weakness by telling men that being weak is a virtue, only for men to then carry up this bottled rage for the rest of their life, looking for any scapegoat, video game, or pill to release their inner repression. But when these values and virtues are subverted, when men no longer benefit from society anymore, when the essential elements to a meaningful life are stripped from men, when being a single, lonely loser with no money, no ownership, no meaningful relationships or connections, and no respect is the norm for men, society crumbles. In our me-first generation, we always want and expect more. We divorce from our lifelong partners for the hope of something better. We look for the next item, the next gadget, the next dopamine hit, and an endless loop. Because we are no longer attached to anything other than our need for more. Always chasing a dream and never realizing it will always be the same. We self-hate our own society and nations. We hate our leaders. We hate our culture and history. Our culture no longer seeks to uplift. Society and nations, we hate our leaders, we hate our culture and history. Our culture no longer seeks to uplift, but to denigrate our population. But when you are binded by the same values and virtues, you want to protect the society that you have. In fact, you will do everything to keep it. That's why you see strong men like President Zelensky out on the streets defending a nation from authoritarianism. A man, a country with virtue and aggression. And on the other hand, you
What is that? What is that? Is that a man? Ah! What happened to us? Look at you. Dude!
You see men in the West willing to give all of this
It's okay to be weak! Ah! Ah! Look at you! You gonna listen Come on!
It's a way when they are no longer attached to any values or virtues, giving away their society in the hopes of something new, which is exactly what Fight Club shows us. During the final scenes of the film, Project Mayhem plans to bomb all the banks and credit card companies so that they can erase the debt record and everyone goes back to zero. Society restarts. And everyone senses this coming. The police know about it, waiters, cooks, bus drivers, everyone knows. And yet no one stands to defend the system. No one wants to protect it because no man benefits from that system anymore. They have no connection to it. Their lives, virtue and values have been subverted. So these men choose to destroy it and begin anew. And in the final acts, this repression is finally released. All these men who have been repressed, who are addicted to comfort.
I forgot about that movie. That's actually a good thing. Being able to wipe all the debt and clear everything. Not a bad idea, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
Who have no deeper connection, who no longer see the benefits of modern society. They come together to tear it down. Because when men are weak, society falls. When men turn into repressed,
this is hell. This is the end of society right here, man.
classic, apathetic consumers with no
Fuck.
virtue or values, with no masculinity. When these men are no longer embraced by the society, they will burn down that society to feel its warmth. Now here's a quick word from today's sponsor.
W Video, Fight Club Warning for Men. Shout out Moon. Shout out Moon. The Simp and the Slap, Rules of Modern Dating. Ah, fuck! My mouse is broken. Okay, no more screaming, no more screaming. You're crazy! Why are you so crazy? Actually, Chad, I actually have to get ready to go. Now we watch one video, fuck that. We got 4K in here, fuck that. I can watch one more video.